We back. Let's be real. Episode 195. Welcome to the new year. How everybody doing?
We good. We knocking on 200, Sheedy. You hear that?
Man.
We knock,
Do you want me to get ready? Hold on, let me stretch. Let me stretch. I'm here.
Oh man, bro. New year, same old us. That's what y'all gonna get.
Ain't nothing changed.
We all started off the year with a guest, man. My guy C. Henry, host of the Fellas Present Sports Rap. How you doing, my guy?
What's going on, man? I'm really honored to be here, man, amongst such an esteemed panel, man. I look forward to the back and forth banter and the wonderful takes. Like I said, I've checked in on a few of your shows, man, and chimed in the chat a lot, man. So I'm really happy to be here, brothers.
All right, appreciate the energy and definitely appreciate the views for sure. So yeah, we like we talked about before we went on air. We about to get it cracking because this has been the most Big Ten football we've talked about in probably about 2 years. So we're gonna let y'all get about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna talk about things that are more important.
Okay. I can deal with that.
Yeah, with the better conference having a representative in the national championship, but it is.
She taking notes.
Already started.
She taking notes.
Y'all gonna have Ohio State team up.
Goddamn long, bro.
Listen, man. Y'all been holding it. The SEC been holding it down for a minute, man. I can't complain there, man. But I think the gap is closing. Bro.
Yeah, the gap is closing. I'm gonna agree with you on that one. It's because some people like UT Knox fans are drinking root beer.
All conference national championship.
No, it's the root beer.
My God,
this man's not gonna live this down. It's all good. But yeah, until your conference gets an all conference national championship at least twice, then come talk to us.
Nah, let's reword that. Until your team gets there.
Oh, we'll get there.
You're not even an Alabama fan?
No, that's the guy with the Memphis.
I'm not an Alabama.
That's the guy with the Memphis.
What team are you? Are you a Georgia fan?
I'm a Tennessee fan.
Just a
we're working our way back.
Are you a volunteer?
He volunteered
to be in the conference. That's how I see. They just volunteering to be in the conference.
Okay.
I mean, damn.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And you demanding that we win at least two. Well, please
talk to him.
I ain't got nothing to say. Bro said he volunteering to be in the conference. At that point, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get the show rocking and rolling. I'm ready.
I got nothing to go. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Okay. I'm a Tennessee fan.
I like the orange though. I do like the orange though.
Man, all right, man. Shout out though. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, IG, and TikTok. And that clip will be going on TikTok in the next couple of days. Follow us at LBR_media and listen to us on any podcasting platform as we are on 11 different audio platforms and on YouTube. You catch us live. If anybody's catching us live, shout out to our guy Ryan who's on right now. Catch us live or catch a recording afterward. But as we always do with any guest, and especially first-time guests, we always have a Q&A session to get to know a little bit more about the guests, especially with their podcasting background. So we see Henry. First question I have for you is, how did you and why did you come up with the Fellas Present Sports Rap podcast?
Oh man, crazily, I just have a real great love for sports, man, locally and nationally. And I love music, man. You see my shirt says music is life, man. So I love rap music, man. So I really wanted to kind of fuse the two together. So kind of, I started off potting with a couple of gentlemen like you guys. And unfortunately, kind of life kind of, pulled them in a different direction. The door is still open. Wasn't any kind of acrimony or anything. We just kind of got a little grown and had some kids, you know what I'm saying? And those, responsibilities kind of took, precedence or whatever. But those still my guys, man. I still bounce a lot of the ideas and a lot of the takes and things that come out of the Fellas Presents Sports Rap or on Sports Rap presented by me come through a group chat called the Fellas. So we still together, man, and we still throwing ideas, back and forth. But just from that love, man, I just kept doing it. It started about 3 years ago, and I was kind of on and off and kind of, in and out of it. And I got on Twitter, man, about 3 or 4 years ago, and I really hadn't done any type of other forms of social media, man. Like I said, I'm a little bit older. I'm in my 40s, man. So my wife spit game to me. I spit game to her. And, it wasn't no online type of thing, man. So I'm kind of from that era. So, it was kind of a new thing, man. And when COVID hit, man, I met a lot of folks, man, and it started, ran into UP Sharp on Twitter, and man, just saw a lot of content creators really pushing, man, and that kind of pushed me to get back into the game, man, and started listening to a lot of different podcasts, started getting a lot of different, views and ideas on things, and got back in the lab, man, and just been trying to push through, man, ever since.
Cool. Yeah, I remember listening to your story. I think on Mike Pass podcast, and it was similar to mine. When I first started, let's be real, it actually wasn't the 4 guys with me right now. It was me and 2 other guys. So kind of similar story, but then found the group, and we still kept pushing. So man, salute to you for keeping the podcast pushing. And kind of goes to my next question: what's your motivation to keep going with the podcast?
Man, just to kind of keep growing. Again, it feels good to me. It's an outlet for me, no doubt. But as more and more people listen to it, more and more folks in my circle, and my wife was, I didn't even know, Max. Like I said, I'm not on Facebook, but she's big heavy on Facebook. So she would share it with some of her friends, some of her coworkers, man, and I would get a lot of positive feedback, man. I started sharing it with a few of my coworkers who, said I got a day job. I didn't even want them to know, that side of me, but I got a lot of positive feedback from that, man. So that just kind of, kept me pushing it on, man. And again, be inspired by, saying folks like yourself, folks like Mike Patton, folks like Ashley Baker, folks who are, kind of, doing it for the love right now. They have a passion to probably do more in the space, no doubt, but just really for the love, man, and just see how far it could go, man. Like I said, fatherhood has been a wonderful motivator for me. This is something, like I said, I was kind of stop and go on it, but then, I became a father, and I want to tell my daughter that she can do whatever, she wants to do. She just has to put, her grind into it. And I couldn't be a solid role model for her if I didn't, follow my dreams somewhat. So I had to put my best foot forward, man. So I'm doing it for me, doing it for her, doing it for the love. And hopefully, man, something, positive comes of it.
For sure, man. And last question for podcasting question. What's your advice for other podcasters who start a podcast that's having trouble to keep going, or someone who's looking to start a podcast but kind of a little afraid to start?
Definitely keep grinding. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get better the more you do it. It comes, I think you get better at it with more practice. I was afraid to kind of jump out there a little bit, like I'm not really big on video, but I said for 2022 and 2023, I'm going to be more in front of a camera. That seems like, more of where the game is going. So be available or be able to step out of your comfort zone a little bit, and don't be afraid to, meet folks. I'm kind of like, I know my wife called me no new friends, you know what I'm saying? So, but with that being said, it takes, you have to network a little bit, you have to take a, to step out on faith and just say, hey, I'm gonna go out here and see what's out here. And I see you guys with similar, stories like yourself, and with similar, platforms doing their thing, man. And it's like, why not link up with them and try to see, how we can, kind of mesh, if, we can chop it up, have some great chemistry, man, and again, grow both of our brands. So, just keep grinding, be open to networking, and be able to step out of your comfort zone.
I appreciate it. So let's transition a little bit into some sport, because I know that's why you really here. So no shade at all when I ask this question, but like sell me on the Big Ten, right? So let's just say I'm like new to sports, right? And I'm just trying to, figure out like, there's the Big Ten, there's the SEC, there's the ACC, whatever the case may be. So like, if I'm trying to figure out, okay, what conference do I want to be a fan of? Why would I choose the Big Ten?
Hold on, Scott. Let me add something to that. And it can't be Ohio State, Michigan.
That's a good point, because I'm not going to answer a question with a question, but if I were to ask a question, I would say, I would ask the same question, but say it can't be Alabama or Georgia. But looking at the Big Ten as a conference from all sports aspects, I think that the Big Ten is the most complete conference. Basketball, football, baseball, whatever you want to talk about. Now, if we're just talking about football centric, again, the one thing, the quality I would give the SEC is that they definitely have Alabama, and Georgia's definitely come up, and they have had a succession of other teams periodically show themselves. Auburn once in a while, Florida with Urban Meyer in that case. But at the same time, I will say the Big Ten overall, I think from top to bottom, has probably a little bit more complete conference. If you're looking for national championships and who's going to show up in the CFP every week, then definitely you're going to probably look at the SEC. If you're a basketball fan, you're going to definitely look at the Big Ten. There ain't no question about that. You know what I'm saying? If you're a fan of softball and other sports, again, the Big Ten is probably the most complete conference out there in the Power 5 conferences. But football, I concede that. But again, the gap is closing, and then this California market is going to be wide open once USC and UCLA come to this conference. And you never know. We may move south. You never know.
No, and I think you brought up 2 good points. I think Big Ten basketball, in my honest opinion, is very underrated. I know when we, Sharky Savage, when we were watching, March Madness, that's when Ohio State reigned supreme. Like, you could definitely you could count on Michigan making a run in March Madness. You could count on Ohio State, Michigan. Michigan State, Purdue would definitely make a run. Yeah, so I think that's a topic that I think is very underrated. And I think you hit the nail on the head, right at the end, in terms of now, you see some of the USCs coming over. You see some of these teams from out west making it over to the Big Ten. So I think the shade that we've thrown y'all way, I think it'll be a little bit better. And Ryan out of pocket.
Can you sell me on Vanderbilt? Can you sell me on there?
We about to trade Nebraska. We about to trade Nebraska.
To his point, I do agree. To Skyler's point, I do agree with Sehan as far as the Big Ten and basketball. Y'all, as far as basketball is concerned, y'all definitely are a deep conference. You expect somebody from the Big Ten in some capacity to make a run in March. Whether it's Ohio State, Michigan, Purdue, whoever, somebody in the Big Ten is making a run in March. So I can definitely see that. I'll back off just a little bit. So just a little bit. I won't trash out as much. But yeah, I appreciate that.
Now I understand football is king now, and that's the deal. And again, even with that aspect, I think that our focus has never really been, or till recently, probably in the last 10 or 15 years, the focus of the Big Ten has been national championship. It was always the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. And to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I'm a gracious fan, an objective fan, so I can honestly give Ohio State some credit for, raising the bar a little bit for the Big Ten, elevating their game to that level. Because basically, let me put it before we go crazy. After we had the stranglehold on them for so long, you know what I'm saying, was dominating the situation for so long, they tried to switch it up, and they went and got Tressel. And Tressel was a great coach, a great recruiter. The cheating, the allegations, and the infractions went up as well, but so did the wins. You know what I'm saying? And then they got Urban. He got out of there. You know what I'm saying? They got Urban, and everything kind of magnified the recruiting, the coaching, the infractions. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, they won the game, and they were winning games, but they actually elevated. You know what I'm saying? The profile of the Big Ten, going to the BCS championship and winning it. You know what I'm saying? In the time where Big Ten teams weren't doing that, and also being a somewhat frequent, you know what I'm saying, participant in the CFP, championship. They made Michigan kind of want to raise their level of play. Like, listen, this is our rival. Not only have they're starting to beat us on the field and beat us in that conference, but now their national profile is starting to, be higher than ours, and that can't happen. And we tried to adjust, and now, because we live in the now. You know what I'm saying? We live in the now. It's looking real. I don't know about even. Them 40 balls, them 240 balls, I don't know about even, but now, you know what I'm saying? We looking good right now. We looking good.
Okay, Took, you had some questions?
Yeah, bro. I actually got a few questions too. We're gonna bring it back just as far as being a content creator, and then we definitely gonna talk sports for the rest of the pod. But for somebody who doesn't have any kids, but I've been blessed to see, 2 of my guys, 3 of my guys, if you count Savage, raise families and still create content. So I just wanted to know what struggles that you have, and that you still may have as far as creating content and raising a family.
Oh man, just the biggest one is time. You know what I'm saying? So you guys come together on Saturday. Y'all done set up, aside a certain time, to come out and record, and that's great. Sometimes with me, I don't know if a certain time anymore can fit. You know what I mean? Sometimes things are changing. Sometimes things are very, very fluid. So that's the biggest issue with me. And then sometimes for me, also inspiration. You don't have as much time to concentrate on, what's your topics and what content you're trying to put out there. So kind of I might not be inspired till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, I might record. I record a lot at 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes, because that's when, I have time to kind of, gather my thoughts, put them down together. And I actually have time where everyone's kind of sleeping. My house is quiet for me to kind of, record and things of that sort. So I think that's been kind of one of the benefits of me being by myself, because at times we would have time, we kind of get 3 or 4 guys scheduled together, and things would change up on that Tuesday at 7 when we're supposed to record it. It'll end up being 8, 8:30, and then we into wife's husband and wife TV time, and she don't understand because ain't nobody making no money. So you know what I'm saying. So you know what I mean. So those are some of the challenges that happen. But at the end of the day, again, I will say this: my wife has been very, very supportive, and again, there's been so much positive feedback. You know what I'm saying, and she really feels what I'm doing. So she makes make sure that I have whatever I need, time, space, whatever, to get it done. So, but those would be just some of the challenges, man. Balancing the the work life and kid situation.
And then we definitely, as a DJ myself, I got to talk about the hip hop and the basketball, right? And one of my favorite Drake lines is back in the day, rappers and ballers are synonymous because we want to be them, they want to be us. So you know what I'm saying? So just explain like how you feel about basketball and hip hop, especially nowadays.
How do I feel about basketball and hip hop? Well, hip hop, in my opinion, is the voice of the culture. You know what I'm saying? In my lifetime, probably your lifetime as well. Like I said, I'm 40, so I'm 40 plus, I should say. So it's always been, what I'm saying, my soundtrack to my life from middle school, grade school on. So to me, it's omnipresent. You know what I'm saying? Now, I mean, it's the soundtrack to everything. It's the soundtrack to the NFL. It's the soundtrack to the NBA. Every pregame show, every opening show has some hip hop now. You know what I mean? And it's crazy you asked that, because I was in college. Again, I'm a little older. It's 1996, man. And I was in college, and I wrote a paper, man, about how hip hop was the new rock and roll for this generation, man. And I went to Grand Valley State University, which is a Division II school here in Michigan, but it was a predominantly white school, man. And I had to stand up and present this. And these white folks looked at me, man, like I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. But I was convicted, though, because I knew I was convicted, and I got a good grade on the paper, but I couldn't. I mean, I thought I, did some Obama type speech, and they was just sitting at me, looking at me like, you really think this is that? You know what I'm saying? But not looking back on it, it is what it is.
Right. Now we got the, rest in peace, take off the Migos out of New Rock Stars. They're the ones. So you were right, man. It took 20 years to get here, but damn it, we're here. Last question for me. Rap, basketball. Who's the best rapper that hoop, man? I need it. Or at least a top 3 or something.
Best rapper that can hoop. Now, Kobe raps and is probably the best hooper to do it. But I would say I would probably go with Shaq on the rap. Now, Dame Lillard is probably the best MC of all of them. But it's gonna be, if you put the basketball aspect, it's got to be Kobe or Shaq. But that's tough, man. I'm split, man. Shaq the slightly better rapper, and Kobe the hooper, man.
I bet it's only because Shaq made a diss track, but it's all good.
No, man. Hey, listen, hey, you got to go back and listen to that album, man. Again, I was a little bit doing my error, man. Hey, Shaq, that was totally unexpected, man. Now he had a couple bars, man.
All right, that was good, man. Great questions, great answer. That was a really good segment. Love that one. A lot of new clips going on TikTok next week. Just be prepared for it. All right, man. So we get started. Let's go and get our intro video so we get started with the sports topics. Let's be real. All right, we back. Let's jump into sports topics and a little bit away from sports. Damar Hamlin, of course, this week. This episode is really expected even after everything that happened Monday night. As everyone who may have been sleeping on the rock don't know, Monday night during the Bills safety, Damar Hamlin for the Bills, during the Bills Bengals game, had a cardiac arrest on the field after a tackle on T. Higgins. And after that, man, pretty much he was at critical condition. His life was at stake. The game ended up being canceled. And throughout the weeks, just continuous prayers, especially on my end, just continuous prayers, hoping that everything is okay with him. And got great and positive news over the last couple of days. Him finally waking up, him getting the breathing tube out of his throat so he can breathe on his own. Him calling his teammates, telling he love them boys and everything. Just a very heartfelt week. So I just want to know and just get to the reactions of everyone of just the time frame of like just the events that happened this week. So I guess we'll start with the guests, see here and then go that order to Sheedy, Trevor, Took, Scout, and back to me.
Man, totally. I mean, just shock and fear. You know, when it happened first, you know, I didn't really know what was going on. You go to the commercial break and then another commercial break, and he's still out there on the field, and you're seeing grown men show a lot of emotion that a lot of men, you know, don't like to show in public. That let me know right there that there was something serious kind of going on. Like you said, I'm great that, you know, he's showed some positive progress. The game, you know, like you said, was canceled or postponed now, canceled now. So we definitely see the, you know, the enormity of the moment that happened with Mr. Hamlin. But man, it's just crazy. And I think we kind of got a human moment, man. We look at these guys as gladiators, as players. Sometimes I think that we don't realize that they're humans. And that kind of brought it back to reality for me. You know, I know, you know, probably a few of you guys or all of you guys have probably played the game yourselves. I played the game myself. And, you know, there's risk of injury all day. We always talk about we can break something, we can pull something, we can sprain something, but we don't really think about the ultimate price that can be paid out there on the field. So I think that this kind of brought a lot of humanity and a lot of realism to this game, man. And there should be a lot more advocacy for some guaranteed contracts. Like this man, I think, is in his second year in the league, so he's not quite a vested vet yet, so he won't receive like a pension or anything. So if he doesn't continue to play, prayers up for him. Hope that he, you know, definitely is healthy and can continue his career and continue and have a fruitful and sustainable life. But man, scary moment.
Yeah, I think to piggyback what you just said, brother, it's like we pay these people so much money and we want them to be almost like superhumans, to the fact that we don't see them as actual human beings. And that's something that we've talked about on this podcast before. We glorify these players, but then it's like right after certain events happen, so to speak, some people are like, okay, let's, you know, continue, right? Or how do you go on and play a sport or do anything to that nature? I'm sure after watching that, and I know I've seen this on Twitter as well, there are people that may have sons that don't want them to play football, right? Because to your point, it's like we all have done it, but it only takes one injury to really be done, whether it's your career, it could be your life, or just the sport itself. Am I going to turn away my son from playing football? No, I'm not going to turn him away from, if he wants to do it, he wants to do it. Every sport, there could be an injury. Let's just be honest here. Some sports are a little bit stronger than others, yes. But, you know, the man was not conscious. Like, he didn't have a pulse. Right, he literally kind of, I don't want to say flatline, but you know, he had to be resuscitated, so to speak, at a certain point. There's nothing more or further that needs to go on at that point. If someone has to be resuscitated back to life or anything like that, you are done with football together. I'm taking my pads off, what have you. And a great stand by the players and coaches to say, hey, we're done here. Whatever happens, happens. Because at the end of the day, this is just a game. Yes, we pay millions of dollars and for all that, but it's just a game. We would not expect, for those of us that work at other places, if something were to happen for whether Nike or St. Jude, or we're at an event, right, that we're DJing, if something like that were to happen, we're done with that for the day. And we need to move on to the next day. Again, prayers go on to what happened with Damar, his family, and everyone like that. But we have to, at some point, look at these people as human beings as well. They bleed just like we bleed. Their heart beats like our heart beats. And so even though we pay them millions of dollars and do all these things for them on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays, they still have a life to live just like we do as well.
Yeah, to Sheedy's point, yeah, we do pay these players millions and millions of dollars. Unfortunately, Damar Hamlin, his contract, he wasn't even making $1 million. If I'm not mistaken, his contract was for 825,000, which he was only making like maybe 120 something thousand, I guess, for each. I wouldn't say each week, but probably maybe within a month's time, if I can do the math correctly. Excuse me if my math is off. But in the end, man, it's just all about the it's all about humanity in the end. And my prayers continue to go out to Damar and his family. It's good to know that he's breathing again, he's talking, and he's not doesn't have a breathing tube or anything on once again. But in the end, man, I'll be that second advocate if need be for fully guaranteed contracts for NFL players, because if you really just dig deep into how the NFL operates from that aspect when it comes to players' health and former players' health, it's disgusting. The amount of money that the NFL is actually paying players and former players for their health is drastically decreasing. And you would think, with everything that's going on from when the lawsuit happened years ago with the concussions and everything, you would think the NFL would do everything to try to make sure everyone's accommodated while they're playing and after they're playing. But throughout years' time, that price has gone down, and it is only going to get worse before it gets better. Yes, we put a lot of money into this. We put a lot of emotion, a lot of heart, and it's great to have that. But at the end of the day, when something like this happens, you just got to think about life itself. You got to think about humanity. And I'm just grateful and I'm just thankful that Damar is back healthy above all else. And hopefully he's able to make a full recovery and he's able to get back out there. And I'm with Sheedy. I'm one of the people that said that my son isn't playing football, but it's more so of I'm not going to deter him away from it if he really wants to do it, but I'm opposed to it. But if that's something my son eventually wants to do when he's on this earth, then it is what it is. I'll let him walk that path. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I think it was just an unfortunate situation just from all parties, right? Like you got the the reason I say defund everybody, in one of my names, because first of all, far from football, but we finna defund Dana White. That's a whole nother topic we'll talk about hopefully next week. We're gonna defund Skip Bayless because there was some bullshit that he tweeted immediately right after it happened, and y'all douchebags talking about, oh, I get it. Oh, y'all being hard on Skip. Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. That's a whole nother talk. Defund Jerry Jones because defund Jerry Jones. Sorry, Sheedy. But last but not least, we finna defund Roger Goodell. Because at this point, I'm changing my stance on the NFL to no fucking love, bro. They not finna get no love at all. And excuse my French, but Trevor, you hit it right on the head. This is a guy whose literally life was on the line, and he's been in the NFL for 2 years, and he won't be able to receive no kind of benefits because he ain't been in the league, for another year, which I think the pension starts around 3 years, 4 years, something like that. He can't even get paid. And if y'all go to my Twitter, I literally tweeted something from what's the guy's name? G. Bush. Go check that out. He goes more in depth of like the money situation. Please make sure y'all go watch that. But as far as like the NFL guaranteeing contracts, it's about damn time, because even the Tua situation, I told y'all as soon as Tua went out, he should not have played another damn game this season. And what happened? His ass went out and got hurt again. The NFL needs to be it needs to be something that says the NFL will go and say a player, no, sit your ass out. But because there's no fucking love in this, the NFL is not going to do that because they're all about the big bank. They're all about that. They're going to, and even if Damar Hamlin was in a situation to get paid, according to the agreement that the NFL Players Association just agreed to, he won't be getting that much anyway. And this is literally a life and death situation that we just saw. So we're asking of the we see the Black Lives Matter things in the end zone. We see the threes that'll probably be everywhere on everybody's field in the playoffs. We gonna see it all. It won't mean a damn thing if we can't get situations like this help. Shout out to the game for coming back. If y'all not familiar with the game, of course, one of the best shows of our, growing up, they brought it back on Paramount, and they're literally going through this situation right now. So it's about time that players get guaranteed contracts. It's about time that they went out and helped the other players who aren't even in the league anymore, who's going through some stuff, because we know they're going through some bullshit. This is that kind of situation, but would the NFL stand up like they're supposed to? I rest my case.
And real quick, sadly, in Damar's case, if he's unable to play again, like he doesn't qualify for a pension until he's 55. Mm-hmm.
You're 5, okay.
So he's 55 and he's 24. So that's 30 plus another half of life, or another quarter century of life that he has to wait to actually be fairly compensated for his time put in the NFL. Sharky, you had something?
Yeah, I got a question for Scout to go. What if let's say the Bills keep him on the roster and he doesn't play? Does it qualify in that case if they let him finish his contract, or does he have to actually play in the game? Because I had a cousin that played in the NFL for the Texans. He got hurt. He had a hamstring, Lonnie Ballantyne, my former high school teammate. He had a hamstring injury. He had tore his ACL. He played probably 2 snaps, and they kept him on the roster all 4 years because he had a daughter that had a disability. And now he retired those 4 years, and he gets his pension. He gets like $100K a year or something around those lines for the rest of his life.
I was about to say, I don't have the answers to this, Sharky, but I just cannot imagine a scenario in which the Buffalo Bills and or the NFL like don't take care of him. Like I hear what everybody's saying, like totally get that. But for this particular situation here, which is extremely rare, I don't believe the NFL or the Buffalo Bills would want any of that smoke that comes with his family saying we were not taken care of. Now, granted, there are rules and regulations that need to happen for him to qualify to get all of that. Yes, I get all of that. But I just cannot imagine a scenario in which these teams and the league don't take care of him. And then, like, I'll say that and kind of like essentially kind of like piggyback off some of what y'all already said anyway. Like, I think what I wanted everybody to take from this situation is don't ever say, if I was X, Y, and Z player, I would do this or I would do that. Please understand why players fight for the money. Like, at the end of the day, yes, you want a championship. You want to be like Jordan. You want to have X, Y, and Z rings. Tom Brady will always be looked at for one of the greats. But at the end of the day, these players want to get paid to compensate themselves and to make sure that their families are taken care of. So I just hope people get out of that space of like, I don't understand why Lamar Jackson fighting for a fully guaranteed contract. Or I don't understand why if I'm Bradley Beal while I'm constantly re-signing with the Washington Wizards. Like, at the end of the day, it's about money and it's about taking care of my family. And so this is why those players do that. So I would love for people to get out of a space where you're trying to judge somebody for doing what's best for them, where you're trying to judge somebody for them taking care of the family. Like, I truly understand why Lamar Jackson, why all these players in the NFL. I fully understand why NBA players do. I fully understand why any pro athlete, regardless of sport, is fighting for the money that they want or rightfully deserve, because you never know if this particular situation will ever happen to you. I'm pretty sure Damar Hamlin went out there and he had no idea this was going to happen to us. I'm pretty sure none of us thought that. Like, this game may have probably have been one of the most watched regular season football games of this particular season. We were all ready for, like, the game was literally starting out really good, and then this happened. So extremely, hurt to see that this happened. Prayers out to Damar Hamlin and his family for sure. I could not imagine being a parent and watching that. I don't know what type of person I would be after watching that. So definitely prayers to his mom and everybody involved in this. And I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, Mr. Hamlin is going to be taken care of.
Yep. And I tend to shooting.
Yeah, sorry, to answer your question, I don't want to cut off your monologue or anything. But just to answer your question, Cap, there was another incident such as you said your cousin, right? I believe.
Yeah. My former cousin. Now he was married, married my cousin, and former. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it right there. But I don't know if we remember, and Cincinnati, ironically enough, the other team, Cincinnati Bengals. Devon Steele, I don't know if we kind of remember him. He was an offensive lineman for the Bengals, and his daughter, right, was sick, right? And they had actually cut him, but they actually had re-signed him so he could receive those benefits to help his daughter, and they kept him on at least the practice squad, at least, so that he does reap the benefits to make sure he's taking care of his family. So I agree with Skyler. It's a great question, but I agree with Skyler as well. I don't believe there's a scenario where first of all, I don't believe there's a scenario where the Buffalo Bills don't take care of him, let alone the NFL. I agree with what you're saying too. But I think the Buffalo Bills have built such a great thing there in Buffalo that they'll take care of their own because they're willing to take care of others that even are not theirs. And so he's probably not going to pay for another thing in Buffalo. I don't see, he should just buy some real estate in Buffalo, stay there. And trust me, I believe everything will come to him from there. But I just want to bring that light to Devon still or something like that to that knowledge. But I do remember him getting re-signed about that with the Bengals. Now that was like 8-9 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, that wasn't too long ago. Yeah. You just might remember that. So yeah, we've seen cases of the Bengals and the Texans organizations that took care of players who had a child, like in a sick situation or any type of disability type of situation. So I'm pretty sure the Bills, if anything, would definitely take care of Damar Hamlin. And like I was saying, throughout the week, I don't know if I necessarily definitely cried, but I was like almost in tears, literally almost pretty much throughout the week, just seeing the updates. That night, I actually missed the play. I had the game on my iPad. I think I was on my phone on Twitter, and I just happened to look up, and I saw they won like 2 commercial breaks. And seeing somebody still on the field, I'm like, hold on, let me rewind what happened. Then I saw what happened. I was like, bro, I hope. Well, I think just happened on this field. But man, shout out to God, man. He can do it all. And hey, Damar Hamlin's still here with us. That was just really great news to end the week. And man, still prayers up to him and his family and just everyone for that situation. It was a nice week to do a lot of blocking on Twitter for a lot of crazy things we've seen, including Skip Bayless, but a whole bunch of other people. It was a great week, for blocking. Got my block game on really good this week. But I guess anybody else got anything else about the situation before we move forward? Cool, man. Still prayers up to Damar Hamlin. But let's move forward to the Big Ten. College football playoff semifinals. We got a Michigan fan on here, as you see Henry is from Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. And he's a fan of pretty much all the local teams, Detroit Pistons, Detroit Lions, Michigan Wolverines. And you got Sheedin over here from Ohio, Ohio State fan. And both the teams were in the semifinals. Both their teams played close games and lost in the end. So we're going to let y'all have the floor. How y'all feeling? It's a week after the game. How y'all feeling about what had transpired last week?
Man, for me, man, it was a tough loss, man. It was a tough loss, but I don't like to have any type of moral victories or anything like that. But I was just happy to have 2 intriguing games in the semifinals. I was happy that Ohio State, showed up big time against Georgia because a lot of folks doubted that. I'm definitely upset that we lost the game, but at the same time, when you get dismantled last year against them, and then this year, you're actually in the game, you can get a little bit of grace from that. But for us, 4 plays, turn the whole tide of the game. You can't beat a team like TCU with 2 pick sixes. You can't beat them fumbling on the 1-yard line. And basically all those plays, man, those 3. Well, I'm sorry, what was the 4th one? We had the 2 pick sixes. We fumbled on the 1. There's another play, man, but that basically would define the game, man, and that's it, man. TCU was a worthy opponent, and they came to play.
Yeah, I might have been the only one on the podcast last week that wanted an Ohio State Michigan actually to be in the college football final. Actually, I wanted that rematch to happen, and because Michigan came and destroyed Ohio State at Ohio State in Columbus and planted their flag, and so to me, we needed to make a statement game from Ohio State's standpoint against Georgia. Again, to CN's point, like Ohio State was written off. Georgia's too big, to all this, that, and third. They're SEC this. It's Big Ten that. And we showed up. I mean, for a majority of the game, we showed up. I'm not on if that, what have you. Wide left happened. Call that knocked Marvin Harrison Jr. out. Did not happen. It is what it is. And so am I proud of the season? Not realistically, because our last 2 games I don't like. And if you know our history in regards to Ohio State and Michigan, it is, can you beat Michigan? Can you beat Ohio State? And then what do you do in the playoffs as well? In history.
We just got there. We just got to that point. They've been there for about 12 years. We new to the game at that point.
yes. But you are. And so, like, that hurts us. We can win 11 games, but lose big time to Michigan and then lose wide left. I'm never going to, that's going to be forever called that game. I'm going to call that game wide left. Everyone talked to me at work, like, hey, how'd you feel about the game? I said it was wide left. And I left it at that. And so it hurts, but we got to retool and get ready for next year. And I don't know how long we're going to keep up with Ryan Day because, again, as C. Henry has already alluded to, when Michigan had their chokehold on us with John Cooper coaching us, he was good with every other game but lost against Michigan. And then all of a sudden we had to get rid of him. And so I don't know how long Ryan Day is going to be staying with us. I would like to hear from Mike Vrabel at some point as well. But again, 2 great games were played. And when we look at this from 10 years from now, we're not going to remember every exact play. You're going to look at the score and say, hey, these were 2 really good games on this day. And I hope that the NCAA provides, TCU and Georgia provide a great game for us this upcoming Monday. But I'll get ready to talk trash if we need to do that too.
I'm sorry. The fourth play was the Philly special on the first damn drive. The Philly special.
That was terrible.
We went totally against our whole identity, man. Our folks, and man, they lost their minds. The lights was too bright for the coaches, man. The coaches lost that game. Defense gave away in the third quarter, though. They held water the first half, but they gave away in the third quarter. But it is what it is. But again, no, I'm excited about the prospects for Michigan going forward. We got a fairly young team. We don't know if Blake is coming back, but Donovan is a special player. That was another flawed strategy, not running Donovan within the inside the 5-yard line. My guess is that they thought that there was going to be some ball security issues, but to me, if he's good enough to run it between the 20s, he's good enough. He double skinned that boy and can run the ball in, man, from the 2 or the 3-yard line. So I don't understand that. I understand him not being able to catch passes because he did have a pad on the hand. But again, he running it between the 20s. You got to give it to him. You know what I'm saying? Inside the 1-yard line. So all that was some flawed stuff, man. We got too cute, got too pretty, man, too arrogant. You know, so you see that from time to time from the Michigan boys, man. So hopefully we'll get back.
Man, for sure. My biggest takeaway is one, according to reports I've seen this week, and we're gonna get to the Titans game in a second. Mike Vrabel will still be with Tennessee going to next year. By reports I've seen on things that should be happening with the offensive coordinator stuff. and he's supposed to be involved in GM search as well. So I think he'll definitely be with Titans for at least the next year or 2. Next up, CJ Stroud made me a believer. So once again, we get to the Titans game. We'll get into all that in a second. CJ Stroud made me a believer. He showed me something in that game. Skyler and Trevor, y'all have anything before we move on to the championship prediction?
No, just 2 quick points for me. One, I think it's already been said, but I was really I think I was a tad surprised how competitive the games were. Like not even to say like they were close games, but like how dramatic the endings were for both of those games. I was a little surprised by that. But if nothing else, I think shout outs to Michigan and Ohio State. And then also TCU and Georgia providing what I thought was really good football. My second point is I think the point that I was very disappointed in was the defense from both teams that lost. I think we hear about all the time that Michigan has a really good defense and Michigan has X, Y, and Z top 50 prospects on defense. And same thing with Ohio State. And, it's DBU at Ohio State. And I'm just like, yeah, G, but I'm not seeing it today. And not even am I not seeing it today. I'm not seeing it when it matters. I think that's the part come on, Ryan. Like, I think that I was like, well, like, why has Stetson Bennett like done, like why? Like, I think that was the part that I was really disappointed in that. I was really looking for Michigan and Ohio State to at some point have that like here, our defense is going to save us the game, and both times they tucked it away.
So to your point, man, you should have definitely been disappointed in what Michigan did. You should not have been disappointed in what Ohio State did because they've been getting. I almost said something crazy, but they've been a lot of points been getting put up on them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say they be getting their back. I'm gonna say they be getting their back blew out over there.
Get a plug.
Hey,
give it a bing.
You know what I'm saying? So defensively, that should not have been no surprise. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it 1,000, you should be definitely. It ain't about the prospects on our team. We just been playing good defense. To be honest with you, our defense currently this year a little bit younger, but it's not no Aiden Hutchinson on that defense. It's not no Dax Hill on that defense. It's not no David Ajabu on that defense right now. They just been playing very, very good team ball. Again, a couple of young guys. Will Johnson is a promising guy. He's a true freshman. Junior Colson and Jalen Harrell, two younger guys who are coming up. Even with the Ohio State guys, they got a couple of younger guys coming up. Now I'm eager to hear what Sheedy gonna say, because I don't see no. You say DBU, I don't see no first round DBs right now over there. Even my man Cameron Martinez, who defected from Michigan, from Muskegon, and went down there. He can go. Y'all can have him. You know what I'm saying? We'll take Rod Moore. We'll take Rod Moore from Ohio, baby. Bring him on up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wait, hold on. I'm cutting off your monologue here. Now, because Ohio State was asked, and let me go ahead and address it. There is no DBU at Ohio State. That moniker, I would say, has left once. I would say probably Denzel Ward, Marshawn Lattimore were realistically our last corners that were like shut down premier corners. We don't recruit that well on the defensive side as well as we do on the offensive side. Our game plan has kind of switched to where Brian Hartline is the greatest recruiting coach right now to me. As a position player, he is bringing 5-star receivers. We're bringing like 4 and 5-star quarterbacks to be with those receivers. Right? Like we're more or less game towards the offensive side. And then we brought in the defensive coordinator who was the best defensive coordinator in the nation, so they say, but he was coming from the Big 12. And we all know what's going on in the Big 12, okay? And I don't even know if there's even 12 teams in the Big 12. It's probably like the Big 6 now or something like that. But, like, that's what we have to work with, unfortunately, and we're not getting that talent like we used to. Now, I was talking to somebody else from Ohio, and, like, we were disappointed in the games and fired defensive coordinator, but what went well for us at Ohio State was our bread and butter was we had those strong defensive lines, there was strong defense, so to speak, and a relatively decent offense or offense that could chug along and keep along, but we're always a defensive-minded team, and that has changed. And I don't know if that's Ryan Day, his philosophy, but I think it is, and that's where I think we've stopped. So we're not DBU. I'll take that away for now, but we're wide receiver U for sure.
I was just about to say that. Y'all switch.
Yeah, y'all definitely wide out you. Y'all definitely wide receiver you indeed. I only have 2 quick points from the semifinals. First, with the TCU Michigan matchup, to everybody's point, and Skyler, you always make this point all the time. It's more of a situation where coaches are just overthinking and just trying to be too cute sometimes. Sometimes, man, sticking with what you know and what got you there can be the best game plan possible. So, but overall, I was excited. Was great. Was satisfied with Michigan's effort as well as TCU's, obviously. And for the Ohio State Georgia game, I have been waiting all season for CJ Stroud's Heisman moment. Like a lot of people who were basically giving him the Heisman, and I'm just sitting here like, well, he hasn't really had his Heisman moment. Like I can look at the other candidates that are in there or should have been in there in some cases, and they've had their Heisman moment. CJ Stroud had the opportunity with the game against Michigan, and it just didn't happen. But for him to have the performance he had against Georgia, I was thoroughly impressed with that. Unfortunately, it was wide left, but again, great games overall thus far, man. And we'll see how things are looking tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, on Monday.
Yep. And speaking of Monday, let's move forward to the teams that actually did make it to the championship. Somebody had a question too.
No. Go ahead. Just talk about championship real quick.
Okay.
I had a quick one before we transition to Sheedy though. How realistic? Because I keep hearing once in a while from Ohio State fans, like, man, we need to get rid of Ryan Day. We need to get rid of Ryan Day. We need to get. How realistic is it for y'all to get rid of him? And who do y'all want? y'all think y'all can find another Urban Meyer?
So realistically, I believe 2 years, if he doesn't get to one, the monkey on his back that is you all, Wolverines, right? That's the first thing he needs to conquer. And if he does that, then it's, can he win the big game, so to speak, especially when we go to like the 12 spaces, so to speak, for college football. And so to me, if in 2 years he doesn't get that done, yes, I think my wish list that I made was that we get Mike Vrabel or someone else. We just need to refocus who we are and what, and I'm not saying what the Big Ten is, right? But what made Ohio State great. Because Ryan Day is just not fitting it for us right now. Because again, we could beat the Rutgers, we could beat the Wisconsins and whatever. But if we're not beating Michigan, as you already know, what good are we, to be honest? So I would say a 2 year, because 2 years will give him enough time to also give his recruits give them some time. They'll be at least sophomores, juniors, maybe even seniors at that time as well. So I would say that long, realistically. But
no, what's his record in the game right now?
Oh, he's pretty flawless until you get to Michigan. We lost to Oregon.
No, I'm saying, but I'm talking against Michigan.
You're talking about against Michigan. What's his record?
Is he 2-2 or?
No, he hasn't won a game against.
Oh, he's 0-2.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I gave him a win. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't.
Okay.
No, that was the coach now for Wisconsin. Dang, he left and went to Cincinnati. He was the coach that year that you're discussing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Ryan Day is winless. Yeah, there we
go. Oh, okay. I see why. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries.
I think Mike Vrabel becomes a realistic option in 2 years. At that point, we'll know. I know he's not staying around for a rebuild, so he'll know next year if the Titans are rebuilding or actually still trying to compete. At 2.
I actually had a question as far as coaching goes as well. We talked about Ryan Day, but we haven't talked about Harbaugh. And Harbaugh has been in a lot of rumors, especially for my Panthers. So I need to know what's the word and what percentage, what rank on a scale of 1 to 10 do you see Harbaugh coming back to Michigan? And if so, I know we're going to talk about the NFL next topic, but I just had to ask since we're talking about coaches. What's the rumor mill looking out there in Michigan?
Before he answers, I'm just gonna put it out there. Harbaugh is in NFL rumors every time Michigan loses. So we're just gonna keep it a buck. Every time Michigan loses the big game, whereas in the CFP or their bowl game, the questions always come up. Oh, Harbaugh may be going back to the NFL. But hey, I'm not the Big Ten Michigan guy. I'm gonna hand it over to the Big Ten Michigan guy, so he probably can provide more in depth than I can. So.
You know what, man? I don't know if I have more, man. To be honest, I can just give you, rumor and innuendo, But to be honest with you, I think that it's a slippery slope because I do feel like Jim Harbaugh does have NFL ambition. He was the coach of the 49ers, and unlike some of these other college coaches who've gone over to the NFL, he had a lot of sustained success. I think he went to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game. So. He definitely comes from a coaching family. His brother is, the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, and I think that sometimes he think he's the better coach. And what better way to prove that than go to the NFL and win a championship? So he definitely has that ambition. The issue with him, from what I hear, is that even when he was in San Francisco, he's kind of a very, very hands-on, kind of a grinded out old school type of coach. And what happened after 4 or 5 years, that kind of grinded on that same group of players. So my personal opinion is that unless he's made some changes, some amendments, you know what I'm saying, to get some improvements, that he's probably geared more so for the pro game. I'm sorry, for the college game, because you cycle through players 3-4 years at a time. You know what I'm saying? The message doesn't get too old. It's a whole new crew, every couple of years. But with that said, the rumor is that earlier in his career, NFL teams were really, really after him. Now, after he had a couple shaky years at Michigan, there was kind of an acrimonious situation where they didn't know if they were going to get rid of him. He had to take a huge pay cut. He ended up getting it back in incentives the next year, which was not this past year, but last year. But with that being said, we don't know if the relationship is as tight, as it once was. So it's kind of like a business decision. Yeah, I think he's kind of sniffing around, and he tells recruits. That's one thing I can't respect about him. He's telling recruits when he goes into these homes, their parents, I do have kind of this little fire burning in me. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? If they come and offer you a great amount of money, you expected to take it. I may do the same thing. So he's keeping it real with those kids, and that might be why we don't get those top 5 classes like we need to. But I think the ambition is definitely there, and he's definitely made it known that it's there. So the rumors, I can't tell you if he's going to stay or go. He's getting a little older. I don't know if he's comfortable in a situation at Michigan, but I think that he has interest in the NFL.
Sibling rivalry, man. Sibling rivalry. It always eats away at you.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious, especially if we go to the Browns, which is a rumor I've heard as well. That'd be the same division. Hilarious. But let's get to the championship. I heard somebody throw some shade at the Big 12, but Big 12 team is in the championship game, Sheedy. TCU, Georgia. Who you got? And if you do pick Georgia, are they covering the spread? 12.5 point spread, a pretty large spread. We start the same order here. Sheedy. Triple two.
I tell you what, Stetson Bennett. Somebody said something about he's Stetson Brady, man. I don't know. He's definitely stepped it up this year. I felt like last year he was kind of more of a caretaker. This year he's more of a playmaker this year. So I think that Georgia does win. I just think they have a little bit too much in the trenches and a little bit more talent overall. I would Kendre Miller, the running back from TCU. I don't know if he's going to play in this game. He's a real key factor in this game. If he plays and can play at 100%, even though that backup did 180 on our ass, so he's pretty good too. But if Kendre plays, I think that kind of definitely helps TCU out a little bit. But I will say this: as good as TCU played, again, I think that there were some mistakes that were made by Michigan, and that definitely kept them in the game. Well, we didn't even talk about the touchdown being taken away, but again, I don't think that was the cause of the loss. But I think that Georgia wins this game, and I think that they probably. I have them winning by 8. I think maybe they don't cover, but I have them winning comfortably.
And actually, to the point that you just made, CN, I think Georgia wins, and I think they do cover. And I say that because I think I'm not saying that they took Ohio State lightly. I think Ohio State had a good game plan, and it didn't match what Georgia thought we would do. And I'm not going to say they were embarrassed, but I feel like they were embarrassed, right? Even though they won the game, they felt like they were supposed to win a lot more handily. And so I think that was a wake-up call to Kirby Smart and his coaching staff, and I think they're going to be even more prepared for TCU. And I think, to your point, TCU capitalized off turnovers and let's call that terrible officiating at times as well. And so I don't think that's going to be the case. Georgia does not make won't make those type of mistakes again, so to speak. And so I got Georgia, and I think Georgia wins this. I think the best football you saw just happened last week. I don't know if you're going to get that same result on Monday, unfortunately. And yes, I did talk about the Big 12. It was me.
Yeah, Georgia is going to win this game just like they won most of their games all season, and that's in the trenches. They pretty much dominate on both sides of the ball in the trenches, offensive and defensive line. To Shee's point, there were I wouldn't necessarily say there were mistakes made by Georgia. I think Georgia just wasn't as prepared as you probably should have been because Ohio State had a great game plan for them. But knowing Kirby Smart, they're going to make sure they're prepared for TCU. So I have Georgia winning this one as well. And I believe they do cover. I think you said the point spread was 12.5. They'll take it by 2 scores. I think Georgia covers. It'll be interesting, but Georgia will cover this. I'll say by 13. They'll just barely cover the spread.
Of course, I love to go for the underdog, but Georgia's been playing some really good football, and especially to be Ohio State, like in that kind of game. And and TCU just coming in with that kind of spread is looking ugly. So at this point, even though Ohio State got their ass whooped by like damn near 30 last year, I hope it's not the same case that we have to watch and see this year. So just hopefully just make it a close game, at least 10 points maybe. But definitely Georgia winning this one.
For absolutely no reason at all, I'm picking TCU. Don't ask me why. I just for the hell of it. Again, like I'm big on football. I absolutely love football, and so I just think that I want a continuation of what we saw in the semifinal games. I want a close game. And so because I believe everybody on the podcast is picking Georgia for absolutely no reason at all. And I actually really like Sonny Dykes. He's a really good coach. I'm picking TCU.
I wanted to do that so bad with you, bro, but I can't, man. I can't.
I can't either. I like TCU a lot, and I say this: I got Georgia winning, and it's because of what Trevor said. The trenches. I think that's what's just going to come. It's going to come to play against Michigan. A lot of 2 pick sixes, a fumble, at the 1 yard line. The feeling special players like that is the reason like TCU jumped out. Georgia ain't making those same mistakes. Not 4 times. They're gonna do it maybe once, and you might get lucky to get that. But TCU has been counting out all season long, and they've always come through. So for that reason, I'm gonna say Georgia covers the spread, but it's gonna be a backdoor cover. As in, the game will be close, but at the end of the game, you're gonna get like a random breakaway touchdown for them to win by 13 instead of only winning by 8 or 7, right? So I think that's what it's gonna be. I think TCU is gonna stay within. Duggan, man, that man got heart. He gonna keep him in it, but I think Georgia is going to win. But they're gonna find a way to cover on the back end. And think about betting. Things like that happen all the time. It's happened to me. But yep, that does 5 predictions. Now it's time to go back to the NFL for week 18, since week 18 games are going on. And to make it a little easier with all these different scenarios due to the Buffalo Cincinnati game not being played, due to sites being involved, all of that, we're just going to discuss the teams that potentially make the playoffs, especially since we deal with most of our teams on the podcast. Sorry, Took. I had your Panthers making it. Y'all had to let me down last week. Golly. Like, why you
I literally, bro, that was one of the worst things I said. We went the entire game, and the last 5, like, get this shit done.
Didn't even realize Mike Evans was on the roster.
That's all I got to say. Be happy, Jason.
Yeah. Paul said, Mike Evans, all we want. Over him.
Ain't that shit all season. Ain't done nothing all season, bro.
Right, and that's exactly how y'all game plan. Nah, we ain't did nothing all season. We ain't gonna give the corner no help.
Norman got cooked.
It wasn't even Norman. It wasn't even Norman. We had some rookie, a second-year player on him.
And you didn't change the game plan to at least try Josh Norman on? Yeah, Hibachi. That's all.
I wanted Steve Wilkes to get the job so bad. Golly. And you already know they're going to find an excuse not to give it to him. They're going to find it. I already know. About Wilkes. Right. But it's Saturday, so we do got some Saturday night game that's for the Slough AFC South is in my area. Yes, I'm a Titans fan. That division is trash. But winner takes all tonight. Itself, the Jaguars still got a shot even if they lose. They can get in the wild card if everybody else loses, which is get 2 AFC South teams in. Hey, we'll take it. But Titans, Jags, and Jacksonville tonight. Who y'all got?
I'm gonna let the guys go first. I'm
sorry. So man, the Titans are always a tough team, man, to kind of figure out for me, man. When I think they're gonna lose, man, they win. When I think they're gonna win, they lose, man. So it's really tough, man. But today I think I don't know if I can take Dobbs, man. I don't know if I can take Dobbs over Trevor Lawrence and Etienne and those boys, man. I think they don't have a little bit too much, man. Now they definitely have a puncher's chance with Derrick Henry, but he's gonna have a hell of a day, man. Probably put up like 150 and multiple touchdowns. So I'm going Jacksonville, man. 23, Tennessee 17.
Ooh, that's unfortunate, Ron. It's unfortunate. Old ass Brady, get this man out the league. Go back to your family. Your family needs you.
Wow. I'm gonna stick to the AFC South right now. I got Jacksonville winning this game, man. I just got Jacksonville winning. I don't know why, but especially they come out in the black uniforms. But I got Jacksonville winning this game. I think there's something. Trevor Lawrence is coming to be a better quarterback, and why the Jacksonville Jaguars have drafted him with their picks. And that's not okay. Well, yeah. And let's not forget that Jacksonville has been not a good team for, I don't know, since Fred Taylor was able to walk. And so like they have all these decent draft picks that are around that are trying to make a name for themselves as well. And what better way to make your name than make the playoffs and win a division title at whatever the record's going to be, 8 and 9. But give me Jacksonville to win this game for tonight and secure themselves into the AFC playoffs and another home game in the playoffs. Wow, I can't believe I said that.
Yeah, Jacksonville got all the momentum right now. I just don't. I don't have faith in Josh Dobbs because I have a feeling it's going to come down to whether or not he can win the game for Tennessee. Because I'm pretty sure Jacksonville is going to game plan on how to contain Derrick Henry and not necessarily try to stop him. And Trevor Lawrence with Doug Peterson, which was a match made in heaven. I think a lot of us predicted that from the season. And he's starting to look like an actual pretty good pro quarterback now. So with that being said, I think Tennessee keeps it close, but eventually Jacksonville wins it and wins the AFC South. I'll keep sending here and score with 23-17.
Yeah, I'll be generous with 17.
Hey, man. Henry gonna do his thing, but y'all know, man, this is gonna be sunshine breakout game. And while we in the moments of patting ourselves on the back, even though my boys ain't in the playoffs this year, I just happened to make the fantasy football championship, and I got in my flex position a guy by the name of Zay Jones. And based on the numbers that I'm looking at, I'm expecting him to go off this year, not just because he's on my fantasy, but based on just the numbers and me being a numbers guy. He probably gonna go off this game, and if
Good
he
move.
does, hey, Sunshine, take us home, Sunshine. I got him unfortunately beating the Titans, so that's what I got.
Yeah, and I think two people have mentioned like the question of like if Josh will be able to perform. I think it's where the receivers for the Tennessee Titans catch the ball. Because if the last time I remember seeing Josh Dobbs and the Titans, Josh Dobbs was making throws on third down. Josh Dobbs was delivering the ball for most of the game. I saw drops by Robert Woods. I saw drops by other receivers, and I'm like, well, damn, help the rookie out. And so Sharkey is going to say this at some point. I just don't trust Tennessee to score more than 17 points. They look just almost damn well just like the Steelers do on offense, and I just don't see a scenario where they can score more than 20, 23 points. And I'm pretty sure Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to do that. So I'll go with Jacksonville.
Before you go, Shark, just to I forgot who just spoke. I think Rosie. Yeah, with Zay Jones. Zay Jones actually been having a bad couple of weeks, so that's why I'm expecting a good game from him. A couple of weeks ago against the Jets, he had a target for a reception for 14 yards, and then last week against the Texans, three for 24 yards. So I'm expecting him to go off this week. That's why I said what I said.
Yep. Yeah, shout out to my guy Titans Rossi for tuning in. He did say Burks. I think Traylon Burks he's looked like he's going to play. I think him on the hooker might not play. As y'all know, Titans injuries. 86 players used this year. 91 players used last year.
Shit crazy.
We just trying to get past, get done with the season. But knowing Mike Vrabel, it's going to be a tough game. I mean, pondering this all day, I just feel like it was Trevor Lawrence time. If not now, win. Like Jacksonville got to win at this point. With the momentum, Trevor Lawrence, it's time for him to take his reign on the division. If you lose to us, it's really like the Jacksonville Jaguars are our little brother, and we just continue to reign the dominance over them if we win tonight with what we got at quarterback and all our whole team. So I got Jacksonville winning, and with that being said, Titans will have a top 10 pick. Todd Downing will be gone. That's the rumors I heard this week. He's getting fired regardless. And it's time for us to roll into next year. And we get top 10 pick. We have a shot to trade up to get somebody who impressed me in the college football playoffs and CJ Stroud. And I still want, as a Titans fan, to us win tonight. Of course, I want my team to win, but losing, I ain't want to be a bad. I wouldn't be too bad. I trust me, I'm gonna be fine.
It's like us, like lose, we get a higher pick. Win, we get like, come on, man.
Because we're always making the playoffs, so we never pick high. We always in the 20s. So it's like we lose. Oh, we actually got a chance to top 10 pick. We can finally move on from Ryan Tannehill for good.
So you said CJ Stroud. So you already walking away from Malik. It's over for Malik.
I still believe in Malik, but if we get a chance to get a top 10 pick, Malik is still another year away. Right.
That
means Ryan Tannehill
from being the number one clipboard holder, or what do you know? What do you?
Or he's another year. Trust me, Mike Vrabel doesn't trust Malik. They going on another year of development from him. And for me, I don't want to see Ryan Tannehill start another game for the Titans. And that means if we don't get a chance to get another quarterback, that means Ryan Tannehill is probably back next year. And I don't think I'm ready to see that another year.
What you think about David Carr over there, man? Just throwing it out there.
Nah. not that contract. I like Derek Carr, but I think at that point, I rather just at that point, I much rather just roll with Malik Willis than if we have a bad season, and guess what, you get a top pick next year and get a 2024 quarterback. So at that point, I much rather us to even go. Yeah, I doubt they go with Malik because the way they treated him this season, I just don't know if Mike Vrabel ever wanted to pick. We fired the GM, they drafted him too, so that goes into it. We get another GM, so where the new GM decides, that would be the next move.
Okay.
But the X game, Steelers. Y'all keep saying we trolling y'all, but y'all always have a winning season at the end of the season. Here y'all go. Y'all play the Browns for a chance to get another winning season and potentially in the playoffs if the Pats and the Dolphins lose. What y'all got?
The league is going to troll me. The Jets will lose. No, I'm sorry. The Dolphins will lose. I don't even know who we need to lose at this point. We need everybody in front of us to lose, which
I got you.
Will happen.
We need the Jets to beat the Dolphins, and we need Buffalo to beat New England.
Both of those will happen.
Both of those will happen.
Right. Let's call it what it is. So now again, I have to be trolled. Watch the Steelers go against the Browns and sit there and say, do I want us to get in, do or not? You feel what I'm saying? And Sharky, what I want you to understand where I'm coming from when I have my feeling is I've seen us play Kansas City in December and January. I've seen us play Buffalo in December and January. I've seen us play Joe Burrow enough times over the past couple of years, and I'm good on us losing by 30. Like I'm just good on that. And I think and I'm saying that just because again, the Steelers still can't cover. And the Steelers have not been able to stop the run for the most part. They've done a better job of it lately since TJ Watt has come back, but they still don't run the ball well. And if nothing else, that's what the hell Cleveland can do. Cleveland also has Amari Cooper and Watt out, and I don't trust anybody for the Steelers secondary to cover him. And so I believe there's a scenario where the teams we need to lose will lose. I just don't trust the Steelers defense to get us the stops that we need. And so I think we'll lose the game. There is that. But Kenny Pickett looks good, though. I will say that. Kenny Pickett looks good.
Yeah, to Skyler's point, we're both in the same page. Like, we would much rather just have a top 10 pick or a top pick in the draft than just to somehow turn it on in the second half of the season just to go to Buffalo and lose by 30. Like, that just defeats the purpose. But allow me to troll the Steelers even more. While Skyler, he is 100% right. While our secondary can't cover, we are tied for the league in interceptions. Like, that is 100% fact. So the secondary is at least generating some turnovers. So I have to give them credit there. The football guys are going to troll the Skyler. It's going to happen, unfortunately.
I'm finna have to troll y'all, man. So y'all don't want to make the playoffs because y'all scared?
Are you listening to this?
Y'all don't want to make the playoffs because y'all scared? I need y'all to really verbalize this.
Talk to him.
Allow me.
See, even God know this beauty, bro. He gonna strike you down the ball, bro. Come on, man. Nah, I would love for my team to make the playoffs. You know,
you want me to answer your question? You want me to answer your question?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're asking me if I'm scared. Hell yes, I'm scared, bro. Yes, I'm not gonna lie to you on this show. We don't lie on this show. Consistency is key, my brother. When somebody shows you
why are you scared? You act like you putting on the pass. You going out there getting rammed
because I don't want to see Pat Mahomes throw for 425 on my defense. It's because I don't want to see Josh Allen throw for 375 on my defense, which all has happened within the past 2 years consistently. Why do I want to watch that?
Was it in the playoffs when it happened?
Yes, it just happened. Pat Mahomes just went crazy last year.
Y'all spoiled. That's what it is. Y'all spoiled. Y'all been to the playoffs last time. So y'all don't even want to go back. Y'all don't want to go back until y'all contenders. Okay, I get it. But it's
no.
Still
let me
key.
put it to you like this. Let me put it to you like this.
I mess with him now. Yeah, I like this.
Let me put it to you like this.
Talk to him.
If you're a defensive-minded coach, and in the last 4 appearances that you've been in the playoffs, you've given up 40 plus.
Come on now.
That is a problem.
Come on.
You
Yeah, the
giving up
problem
40
is you drafted Cameron Sutton and them other guys.
Hold
who
on
ain't
now.
played.
Cam Serve is actually pretty nice. He just can't cover on the outside, but he's actually pretty nice.
Well, where he
What's he nice
play on
about?
the outside,
What's nice? Yeah, what's nice about it?
If he play on the outside, he can't cover on the outside, then we got a problem.
He's actually good.
Talking Dr. Pepper and tea. What we doing?
We got the problem. Okay, the reason I say that only reason I say that I'm a Lions fan, so we don't even have this type of conversation or consideration. We always want to go to the play. We was hoping there was gonna be an 18. We was praying for an 18 yesterday. We was on our knees praying, like, please give us an 18. We trying to get it any way possible. But I think even in your guys' case, you got Najee, you got Deontay, you got Pickens, you got
Deontay occasional hands Johnson.
Now let's point out everybody.
It's this even at the end of the loss. Players need to know how to play meaningful football, man. Whether it's December, January, and that builds on into the future. You just can't say, okay, we hope to lose right now, and then next year it's gonna be on and popping, and we're gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Now it's not even just wanted to be on and popping. We're just trying to, like, finally, if we're losing, we need to finally address the problems that we've been having for years.
But you can't avoid the playoffs trying to address the problems. Sometimes you need that problem to be exploited more. Like, oh, it's clear we blew out the last 3 years. We got to do something now.
We have been able to stop the run for years. We haven't had corners that can cover for years. If we keep backdooring our way into the playoffs with these problems still looming, it just enables everybody to show that this is not a problem. That's why we don't want the Steelers to make the playoffs, so we can finally address these problems and probably get back into being a contender. But somehow, some way, and again, we got to give kudos to Mike Tomlin because he is a hell of a coach.
Please, dude.
Despite the fact that he keeps giving up 40 in playoff games, we got to get. I have to give respect.
Kenny Pickett need to feel the cold. He need to feel the sting of a loss. He need to feel all that. So next year he'll come back motivated. Like, we need to win this division and we need to get a home game. Because I'm tired, I'm tired of going up there getting really stung by these boys by 40. So yeah, go up there and get stung.
But Kenny Pickett's not the problem. He ain't felt. Can't cover nobody, and we can't stop the run. That's the problem, and we have a defensive line.
Maybe the GM need to fill it some up, but I ain't never heard nobody say they don't want to go to the playoffs because they scared though. That's privilege right there. That's that black and gold privilege right there, man.
Okay, I'll put it like it's like, okay, because our guys at 3 the Hardaway made this distinguish talking about the Washington Wizards, about how sometimes they're never big time contenders, or they're never or they're always really bad. If you have a consistent problem and you're somehow backdooring your way into the playoffs and those problems always continue to rear its ugly head, you will want changes, right? And I don't know if folks don't realize Pittsburgh ain't got no money, because all our money is tied into our defense, which is a problem at this point because we can't stop the run and we can't cover nobody. So why not just lose, address these problems in the draft, since we don't have any money because all our money is tied into the defense, and then just start anew there. Like, offensively, we're okay. We got Kenny Pickett, we got Najee Harris, Deontay when he decides to catch the ball, Johnson, and George Pickens ain't no slouch either. The offensive line has played better as of late, but it still can use some beefing up as well. It's the defensive side of the ball where everything is tied to. It's literally Cam on the line who does his thing, TJ when he's healthy, and Mika Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, if that's where all the money is, that's where the money needs to be. That's where the money needs to be. Them the most useful pieces.
I mean, that's fine, but
who else hogging up all the money?
I would much rather have that. I would love to have that and have some corners that can cover. I would much rather have a front seven that can stop the run. What happened to your guy Devin Bush? I don't even know. He hasn't been the same since he come back from his ACL injury.
We gotta let other people talk. We gotta let other people talk. But see here, let me come on that podcast, because I have a problem with you about Mr. Devin Bush. That we gotta finish this podcast. But
what happened, man? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We'll address that another time.
He tore up his knee, man. That's all I can say. He tore up his knee, man.
All right, go.
Well,
Somebody
he was good before that. He was your man before that, right?
To answer the
He
question, but to answer the question,
He was a rookie.
the football guys will troll the Steelers,
Mhm.
and we will somehow be playing in the playoffs against who will be the number 2 seed at this point. I think it'll be Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken. Again, so we're going to backdoor into the playoffs.
I think it'll be either
we're going to get 40 hung up on us, and it's going to be all for
Cincinnati.
nothing.
Well, I say this first of all? You did mention the Mizzards, as we discussed on Three the Harder Way, and we discussed how the Mizzards in the last, let's just say, 20 years are just a mid team. I cannot put that same distinction on the Steelers because the Steelers have actually won 2 Super Bowls within the past 20 years. So I can't say that those are the same. I hear what you're saying though, because you get into playoffs. But I will also echo this: NBA and NFL playoffs are different in the fact that it only takes one game in the NFL, and you'll never know what happened on any given day or night. I mean, i.e., look at what the Giants did with their runs. Right, they were a mid team, so to speak, but they were hot towards the end, and they won all those games. Even the Ravens of those seasons, like they got hot, and so in 60 minutes, you never know what's going to happen. You never know if there's 2 pick sixes and a Philly special that happens that changes the course of a game.
Why we got to talk about that, man? We talking. Man.
We are. I'm just giving some exhibit A's through Z's here. You know what I mean? But you never know what's going to happen in 60 minutes of football. And I think that's the joy of the NFL playoffs as opposed to what's different in NBA playoffs where the game does slow down. Yes, both games do slow down, but you actually get at least 4 chances to beat the other team. And so the question now becomes, first you got to win now and get those hopes up. And if you guys do get to the playoffs, what is the game plan against those teams that you have been losing to by 20, 30 points? So how do you change that for that game? Because you have another chance for 60 minutes, whereas other teams don't get those extra 60 minutes after week 18. And so that's where I'll go. And if the money's tied up in the place they're tied up at, I think the Rams just won the Super Bowl with their money being tied up in 3 big places too on defense, and they got a Super Bowl. Now they suck now this year, but I'll leave it at that. I know Tuka has something to say too. I'm sorry.
I just think that it's very ungrateful that you're supporting a team that has worked their ass off all season, but specifically the latter half, and they're on the edge of making the playoffs, 80% that they will. And you like, no, we don't want it. We don't want our players that we watch and support every Sunday to get their bonus check for making the playoffs. I think it's selfish. I think it's ungrateful. Like my guy said, y'all used to it, and I get it. But you got a team like my Panthers who would love to be in a situation like y'all, who would love to have a young quarterback get his ass whooping the playoffs. So next year I can go harder. I love her. I love to see a team who corners suck, but they time to lead interceptions. Make it make sense. Any given Sunday is what you were trying to say, Sheedy. Any given Sunday.
I don't know if we was going to talk about the Lions or not, but that's my whole goal right now. Now, granted, I think we got.
They're next on the menu. They're next on the menu.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't want to jump there. I didn't want to jump to. But yeah, and Pittsburgh has a strong history. I ain't gonna lie about it. They got a very strong history. But this team, to me, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm from the outside looking in. This is still, to me, a fairly young team in transition. So, besides Cam Hayward, Minka been out there for TJ. Okay, well, besides those guys, though, this is a team that kind of, I think will benefit from that experience of getting in the playoffs. And you never know, man. Somebody go down, somebody fall on the wrong. I'm not wishing any injuries, but something crazy happening. Patrick Mahomes not there. Patrick Mahomes got a stomach ache. He can't play. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know who the backup is. Is Chad Henne still there? I don't even know.
I would love to have these hopes, but it's happened so many years for this team. Like, consistency is key. And another rule with Let's Real, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Like, if you go and look at Pittsburgh's playoff games over the last 5 years.
Since 2015.
Since 2015, Pittsburgh has given up an average, and you can do the math, and I may be off by a few numbers. It's given up an average of damn near 40 a game.
Jacksonville.
We've given up 40 to Jacksonville. We've given 50, up 40 to Baker Mayfield. We've given up 40 to Patrick Mahomes. Skylar, anybody else am I missing? Huh?
How much Tebow put on y'all?
Chill out, cuz.
That
fight you.
was
I'll fight you right now. I will fight you right now. Let's talk about the Lions. Let's talk about somebody else.
Praying lefty.
I might have to find Tuke and beat his ass for saying.
Hey, no,
You'll see me next month, brother.
But no, that wasn't 2015. But since 2015, Pittsburgh has given up on average at the very least 35 points a game. And for a defensive-minded coach, and for when the money is tied up into the defense, and the way Pittsburgh that we know based on its quote-unquote history and the way they want to play, as far as making the game ugly and keeping the score down low, that's not winning football. And if we're just going to sit here and consistently get this over and over and over and over and over again with no means of adjusting it, then what's the purpose of us getting to the playoffs? Like, I'd much rather just take our chances in the draft in hopes of addressing these problems, especially if we're not going to address them in the offseason. But I know we got other games we got to get to. I know we spent too much time talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, Cap, whenever you decide to pop back in here so we can talk the rest of these games, we can do it.
Yeah, hope my sound ain't too bad. I'm driving to the barbershop. But all right, I've been told y'all the last couple weeks I got Steelers making the playoffs. So y'all know my prediction on that. Move forward to the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. C. Henry's team, Detroit, on a heck of a run right now to get in this position. They do need a loss. They need the Seahawks to lose to the Rams. Not likely, but I mean, Baker Mayfield has had a couple upsets the last couple weeks, so it's not out of the realm possibility that can happen. So, who y'all have picked to win that game? And if you had Detroit winning, do you think Seattle loses so they get in? We start with C. Henry when they go around.
Oh man, first and foremost, I'm hoping for a Seattle loss, man. I don't know what needs to happen. I mean, I feel like Stafford needs to suit back up for us for all the millions that he stole from us, man. And and give back to the force and give us a good game out there against them Seattle boys, man. But for us, really, man, we've been playing, some very, very good football. Again, kind of, to that point I was saying previously, we're a young team, man, an up-and-coming team, rebuilding. We haven't had the privilege of getting blown out in the playoffs the last 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So for us, we just happy to show up and play anybody. But I will say this, if Seattle does lose, I think that we have a great chance of beating the Packers. I don't know, Ryan in here hate, but yeah, we got a great chance of beating the Packers like we did earlier this year, man. So if that happens, I think we have a puncher's chance in the NFC. Nobody really, when you look at Philly, they're coming off with Jalen Hurts injury. We played them earlier. They got off to a quick start on us, but it was a competitive game. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, when you look at the Minnesota Vikings, I mean, we split with Minnesota. We played a tough game against Dallas, so we have a puncher's chance if we can get in. But again, though, it's very, very important for our team coming off the year that we had last year to be playing meaningful football. I was just hoping to play meaningful football until December. I had a prediction of 7 wins for this team. So now we're playing with, with house money at this point. So if we can make the playoffs, that'd be great. It'd be great again for this team to see the intensity. This game in itself tonight may have a playoff feel to it. So because there is a chance that Green Bay makes the playoffs if we don't beat them. So we kind of spoil, one of our rivals' dreams. Send Mr. A-Rod on his way. He doesn't have a lot of respect, for the city of Detroit. So this is a big game for us and a defining game. And I think the NFL kind of sees the magnitude and the growing momentum of Detroit right now, putting them in that prime time game. Because they could have put that game at 4 o'clock or something. They didn't have to put it in prime time because technically it might not have that big of a meaning.
Yeah, I guess I can pick up from here. I actually would have the Lions winning this game. I believe that, to your point, the run that the Lions made, your draft picks are coming together. And so if I'm hearing what I'm hearing from the Steelers camp about drafts and all this stuff makes the playoffs, I would be remiss if I didn't mention how well the Lions have drafted, and they are now, reaping the benefits of that. And so I would actually employ that the Lions win. They beat Green Bay. Now, I don't know if that win necessarily knocks Green Bay completely out. I don't know that scenario for everything, but I would actually, at the end of the day, I want Aaron Rodgers to lose this game. And so give me the Lions for that. And I'm talking to somebody that is a Lions fan as well. And I'm like, yo, Detroit can do something as well. And they can shock somebody again in the playoffs. Again, it's 60 minutes. You never know what can happen within those 60 minutes of football.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm actually taking Detroit to win this game as well, and I do think the Lions make the playoffs. As y'all have known, I know he's played well as of late, but my stand still stands on Aaron Rodgers. I think he is 100% done. I think he is completely washed. So Detroit has been playing some outstanding football as of late. Well, actually, I wouldn't say as of late, for more than half of this season. So you got to give kudos to that. And a lot of their losses have been some tough losses. I can't think of one that's actually have been where Detroit has just been blown off the field. So something is going right in Detroit with
New England.
With Dan Campbell and company.
They got us.
So,
New England.
oh, it's New England. Okay, so outside of maybe the New England game, most of their games have been pretty much competitive. So things are on the uprise for Detroit right now, and I know they're going to need some help from the Rams knocking off Seattle as well for them to get in. But I think that can happen because I don't see. Not sure what direction Seattle's going in as far as what their playoff scenario looks like, if they're even in the playoff hunt. I'm not mistakenly sure. But yeah, I got Detroit winning, and I got Detroit getting in the playoffs.
I definitely got that too. And just even coming into this season, two things actually I'm happy about is one, I said that the Vikings would win this division, and two, that the Detroit Lions will be much better. You know, and I was laughed at and said, oh, they were at the bottom. They can't do nothing but win, 5-6 games. But you know, the potential was there, and y'all had a great draft that I really like and appreciate. Y'all got some ballers. I was able to see, you know, the Detroit Lions full a couple weeks ago when we played y'all. And even though the score wasn't close, it was a good game. Like defensively, y'all were there. Y'all running backs made some good plays, and in the playoffs, that's what you need: running game, defense. You know, statistically, y'all not as good defensively, but like I said, y'all got some bodies there who can make some plays. As far as like this game against the Packers go, I got y'all winning. I would love to see y'all in the playoffs. I would love to see y'all, you know, throw the deuces at Aaron Rodgers too, because I don't think he's done. Like Trevor said, for his career, but I do think he's done for the rest of the season. I could be wrong because, you know, maybe the drugs are getting to him. So who knows? But I do got the Detroit Lions making the playoffs. I hope they make the playoffs.
Yeah, Detroit looks good. Dan Campbell has essentially looked a whole lot better than his original press conference interview that he did when he first got signed to be the coach. So they look really, really well offensively. They're probably one of the better teams in the league as a whole to watch. So I think, you know, I give kudos to them there. I just right now do not trust them to win that game against Green Bay. That's what it is for me. I understand that some people may say that Aaron Rodgers is done or whatever the case may be. It ain't quite yet to where he typically loses every year, which is around the first week of the playoffs. And so we have not gotten there as of yet. Sorry, Eva. But I still think Green Bay will win that game, and they'll find a way to get in, just because I don't trust Detroit to be able to close the game out and get in and win on the last week of the season.
Yep.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was like, yes, same here. I got the Packers winning. I want Detroit to win so bad, but I think being that Lambeau, nighttime, primetime game Lambeau with the playoffs spot on the line, Aaron Rodgers, it's about to do some Aaron Rodgers type of things and get the Packers into the playoffs miraculously. And they're the only team of the three between them and the Seahawks and Detroit who control what they have to win. They win that game. Like Seahawks need to win, need the Packers to lose, and Detroit need the Seahawks to lose. They can. So I think Aaron Rodgers. Playoffs, and you have Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers in playoffs. Somebody have to example for the let's begin the US Open. Somebody's about to say something before I move on.
Oh yeah, I was gonna just say real quick, man. I'm glad you guys, you know what I'm saying, really touched on the draft, man, because I don't think that Brad Holmes gets enough credit, man, for the job that he's done the last 2 years. He's kind of single-handed. I know Dan Campbell gets a lot of credit because he's on TV and, you know, he's on, you know, he was on Hard Knocks and all that good stuff. But Brad, you know what I mean, does all the dirty work behind the scenes, getting him the players, and he's real low key, man. And he's one of the few black GMs, man, who are really, really, really getting it done. And we're really happy to have him and proud to have him here in Detroit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And shout out to Ryan. Yeah, you're right. At 12 o'clock barbershop performance. So it is like a 20-minute drive, so I had to go ahead and dip on out. But still on the show. And this is the end of the show. So shout out to man. See him, man. Appreciate you coming on. Let the people know where they go follow you on social media and your podcast.
And man, let me tell you this, P. Sharky, before I leave, because my man got to talk about fantasy football, and I got to tell y'all how y'all boy P. Sharky kind of dirty balled me, man, in this fantasy football league, man. I got the story. I had to know this.
Different.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't even know this was coming, so this is an exclusive for y'all, an LBR exclusive. So we're in a fantasy league together, man, and I'm in the playoffs, man, and I got Tua and some other. I think I have Tua and Brady. Tua, scrambled eggs in the head a little bit, man. Brady was kind of slumping, but somehow, some way, I see Justin Fields out here on the waiver wire. I said, okay, it's only about 5 or 6 teams in the playoffs. Let me try to put in a waiver claim real quick. So I look up the next day, man. I didn't get him. P. Sharky got him. I said, damn, I didn't even know P. Sharky was in the playoffs. So I look it up. P. Sharky in the constellation, man, bracket, man. Don't be picking no guys up, man, on the waiver wire. You in the constellation bracket, man.
Hey,
he cost me a championship, man.
Hey, that's what I do, man. I'm trying to win the constellation ladder. I'm trying to win. I did this to my guy Savage at LBR. He was trying to get
dirty balling out there, man.
Yeah,
man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the invite again, guys. I love you guys' show, man. I love the chemistry that you guys have, man. You can definitely follow me on Twitter at CHEN313. So that's at CHEN313. Definitely check out the podcast, the Fellas DA. Fellas Presents Sports Rap. It's on Spotify and Anchor, man. And again, we're just talking sports from a local perspective and a national perspective, and mixing in a few little, old school, new school rap songs, man, and some interludes there, man. So definitely, man, check me out, man. Again, definitely had a great time. I hope to be back.
For sure. Ryan, fuck you know me. Hey, I'm still trying to win. I don't care if constellation got
it. Man, ain't trying to make sure you
tell him you trying to make the playoffs, right? You trying to make the playoffs.
All is fair. He was trying to win. He was putting in as much effort as can to win 7th place.
Yeah. Hey, it's money is and what keeps me going? Like I keep the application on my phone.
You know what I'm saying? He trying to build up for next year, like the 7th place, and then 5th, and then 3rd, and 1st.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love y'all boys, man. I love y'all. Thank y'all, man.
But of course, y'all know. Follow me on Twitter at the1DAOND_P Shark.
Scalito left, but I'm at the Art of Trevor. That's my starting 5 stick. Whoop That Trick somehow has made it to WWE, which is hilarious. But yeah, follow me at the Art of Trevor.
I'm at Tab Shakir, man. This has been a great episode. We appreciate y'all. Hopefully next time we get to the defunding of everybody that I said early in the show.
And we can start with Jerry Jones, and defunding him. It's really shitty, man. Hey, even though I'm a Cowboys fan, if God, if you're listening to me, I could use the 1 seed real quick, but it's a lot that has to go into that. But I'm with you, God. I'll go to church tomorrow too.
Only time you go to church.
And they'll be in Arlington, by the way. I'll go see Jerry Jones church or something like that.
Yeah, good luck with it.
Good luck with that.
But as always, y'all know y'all can check out LBR Media. Follow us on all social media platforms, LBR_media, mostly TikTok. That's why most traction is there outside of our personal accounts. As well, listen to the podcast on any of the podcast network, 11 different audio platforms, and YouTube. Listen to the other podcasts on the LBR Media umbrella, which is hosted by Savage and Sheedy, 3 the Hardaway podcast. They drop every week talking about the NBA. Shout out to guests in the comments, Ryan and Tyus Rossi. Check out their podcast as well. Tyus Rossi is Tyus Rossi. Follow him on YouTube channel, dealing with all Tennessee Titans fans. And Ryan at the Jump Pass TN Tennessee as well. And there's also a Tyus podcast as well. And Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports C tuned in as well. Shout out to him and Tyler, Darren and Tyler for the Fat Boy Fadeaway. Check them out every Sunday. They're going live on Sunday, so every Sunday morning, I think at 8 o'clock Central our time. If I ain't mistaken, check them out on YouTube, Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports. Until next time, peace.